Ukraine special forces have repelled a Russian offensive in Kupyansk sector in Kharkiv region, killing more than 30 soldiers of the occupying army and injuring 40 others, Kiev Post reported on Tuesday. 15 of the soldiers were killed in a gun battle. The military operation war carried out by Chimera Special Unit, part of the Timer Special Unit of the Main Intelligence Directorate, known as HUR. Sharing the video of the special operation on Telegram app, HUR captioned it as, "Chimera is in action. HUR special forces eliminate the enemy in the Kupyansk sector." The video details the crucial phases of a military operation, showing activities at the command post, an assault on Russian positions, the evacuation of injured soldiers, drone operations, and the use of fire support. 40 Russian soldiers were wounded by special forces, and 2 were captured during the operation. Moreover, reconnaissance units crushed more than 40 Russian fortifications and engineering structures. The Ukrainian troops managed to hold a large section of the front and stabilize the defense in the area as a result of the operation. Kyiv Post quoted an unnamed Ukrainian sniper from the Pomsta brigade as saying that Russian forces are trying to complicate Ukrainians' logistics in Kupyansk sector, making it difficult for Ukrainian troops to reach their position, but Ukrainians are holding strong. The main challenge is that getting to positions is a very big guess, and without electronic warfare, it is very difficult, the sniper said. It should be that last month Russian President Vladimir Putin announcing that the army was establishing a security buffer zone along Ukraine's border, including the Kharkiv region.
A sharp conflict has broken out within the Russian propaganda machine. The Orthodox nationalist movement, Sorokov, and Z-bloggers are demanding that the commander of the Chechen Special Forces Akhmat, Apti Alodinov, be brought to criminal responsibility for insulting a priest. The scandal has split the pro-Putin camp against the backdrop of historical memories of the Chechen wars and the growth of xenophobia within Russia itself. The conflict was sparked by a sermon by Shtima Hegumen Gabriel, the rector of the Sochi courtyard of the Valam monastery. During his speech in the church, he said that Muslims can slaughter Muscovites on the order of a mullah and that the Interior Ministry won't even have time to utter a peep. He also called Islam the wrong religion and its followers an entire army. After these words, the commander of the Special Forces Akhmat, Apti Alodinov, publicly condemned Gavril, calling him an imbecile in a cassock and a representative of the troops of the Antichrist. He was outraged that a criminal case had not been opened against the priest and expressed bewilderment. "Who are you to teach 2 billion Muslims what the correct faith is?" Gabriel was quickly removed from service. No official reason was given, but the timing is obvious. The monastery, we recall, is under the personal patronage of the Kremlin. It was there that Putin held secret negotiations with Lukashenko in 2024. However, the supporters of the Shima Hegumen, the ultra-right Orthodox movement Sorokov, perceived this as humiliation and began an open attack on Alodinov. They demand that he be brought to criminal responsibility under Articles 148, insulting the feelings of believers, and 282, incitement of hatred of the Criminal Code of the Russian Federation. The organization's statement reads, "We believe that Apti Alodinov's words incite hatred in the country and insult the holy order. Such a person cannot hold a position in the Russian armed forces." The scandal immediately exposed deep cracks within the Russian military camp. The tension is heightened by the fact that Alodinov holds a high post, deputy head of the main military political directorate of the Russian armed forces. That is, he is not just a militant, but formally a representative of the ideological front of the Ministry of Defense. His insult to an Orthodox priest, even in response to xenophobia, became a political bomb. For the Ukrainian audience, this scandal is not just an internal squabble, but a clear indicator of disorganization and multiple hatred in the enemy camp. Putin's system, built on a mixture of violence, religion and loyalty, is beginning to crack at the seams. Contradictions between different factions, Kadirov's men, Orthodox nationalists, the military, propagandists, are coming to light, threatening the stability of the vertical of power itself. The Ukrainian army has learned to shoot down enemy drones deep above Russian-controlled territory, OSINT analyst Andrew Perpetua reports on Platform X. He noted that previously, the typical situation was when Ukrainian interceptor drones shot down enemy drones over their territory or in the so-called grey zone, at best a couple of kilometers deep into Russian-controlled territory. But now this has become more of an exception, while the typical situation is the interception of Russian drones deep in the Russian rear. Recently, we have been seeing interceptions at a distance of 12, 13, even 18 kilometers from the front line, the analyst wrote. According to him, the current record distance at which Ukrainian drone interceptors have been recorded is more than 32 kilometers deep into Russia. As can be seen from the published geolocation, this occurred in the Kursk direction. It is not specified what types of Russian UAVs are falling victim to Ukrainian anti-aircraft drones at such a distance. But it is worth noting that both sides are currently using reconnaissance drones of the wing type for visual observation of the front line and their own frontline zone in case of penetration by enemy sabotage groups. As media wrote, Ukraine has been using interceptor drones to hunt Russian drones for about a year now. This technology is constantly being improved, and the range of its application is expanding. If at first Ukrainian drones hunted exclusively for enemy reconnaissance UAVs, now they are also used by intercept Shaheeds. However, the Russians have already realized that they need to immediately copy all Ukrainian know-how in order not to suffer defeat in the war. Therefore, now the aggressor is also using interceptor drones at the front. This forces Ukrainian military engineers to look for means of counteracting Russian drone hunters. According to military observer David Axe, there were a lot of drones on both the Ukrainian and Russian sides on the front line, and it became too expensive to fight them with traditional air defense systems. So both sides began to fight cheap drones with cheap drones. That is, the new class of interceptor drones inspired developers to create means of protection against these interceptors. The first anti-drone cages, which Ukrainian observers called desperation cages, began appearing on Russian armored vehicles shortly after Russian forces expanded the war against Ukraine in February 2022, the expert writes. Soon, tiny drones that explode on contact became the main threat to equipment and troops in an ever-expanding kill zone stretching for miles from the line of contact.